everybody, the CM Crew Dude. Happy holidays. I know I'm really late. I've just had a lot of stuff going on in my personal life, you know how it is. But anyways, we're getting to video games. I've definitely played a lot of video games this year. Probably more than I should, but we're gonna just celebrate the good ones that we've had to enjoy this year. So I decided to put together a little top 10 list, if you will, of my personal faves this year. Without further ado, let's get started. Number 10 is Ratchet & Clank Into the Nexus. Now, it's the latest installment in the Ratchet & Clank series. It's definitely is a conclusion to the Future Trilogy, and as a story, it's okay. It's a lot shorter. I was disappointed by how short it was, but it definitely works. It feels like an old-school Ratchet & Clank game, and it's really fun. It does take up a new story, where Ratchet & Clank, they're on a new ship trying to transport a dangerous villain to the prison, but she gets broken out of jail by her brother, and you get to learn, like, I'm sorry, she tries to reunite herself with her race, which is a bunch of ghostly creatures called the Nethers. So, along with that, you get to meet all characters that you've seen before, like Quark, the Plumber, Kronk and Zephyr, Talwyn, the Smuggler, all of them. It definitely does, unfortunately, it doesn't do justice to the story's end. The ending of the story, I'm sure you've heard all about it, is very disappointing. It doesn't wrap up anything. At least I can hope for is that on the PS4 they definitely try to make a better conclusion to the legacy. Something I would hope to see is either an origin story or one where Ratchet actually finds the Lombaxes. I mean, I feel like those would be the two directions to head for now. The weapons in the game are actually pretty good. You still get the classic ones that you've had before, and some new ones. I have to say one of my new favorites is the Winterizer. What it does is that it turns enemies into snowmen. That's always funny. It's always funny when you have a weapon that turns enemies into some kind of creature. But yeah. So what else can I say? Oh yeah. Some of the levels, while most of them are new planets, it feels like a lot of the environments are reused. Like there's a planet called Thram, which a lot of Ratchet & Clank players will associate with Sargasso, and it does look kind of similar, but I just wish they could have diversed a little bit more. But it's not a bad game. It's still pretty good. Mine is Metal Gear Rising. I've talked to a lot of Metal Gear fans about the game, and they've told me that it's not so much of a Metal Gear installment, more is it like a hack and slash kind of thing like Devil May Cry. They tell me that a lot, but I mean, playing it standalone as a game, it's really fun. It definitely, I like to joke about it being like kind of a Fruit Ninja cyborg. I mean, he just goes around like cutting stuff up with the with his sword. I actually got a really cool letter opener from the GameStop website. It's a Raiden's replica sword that it's a really cool letter opener. I really like it. But I digress. So the game itself, it's about Raiden, and he becomes a cyborg after he gets his eye cut out, and then with that, there's a bunch of interesting new gameplay features. Like there's like the ninja run, I think it's called, which looks awesome. He can like leap over enemies, and then there's like a square where you have to like cut to rip out the enemy's robotic spinal cord and to, like, regenerate your health. A lot of people joke, since it's electrolytes, they say like, oh, so it's like Red Bull or something like that. But yeah, it's fun to joke around about. But overall, I mean, all the hacking and slashing, it does get pretty fun. I mean, some people get bored of it. I can understand that, but I think it's actually really enjoyable. But of course, I mean, like, you gotta be careful, like of like destroying objects, because I know they tried to limit themselves on like what you could destroy, so you don't block yourself out of an area that you can't get like out of now. But basically what I can say is it's definitely good as a game itself. But as far as a Metal Gear installment to the series, it's kind of like I don't know how to say it, like, it doesn't really fit into the stealth mechanics because it doesn't rely that much on stealth. But still, I would recommend giving it a try if you're a fan of the Metal Gear series. I mean, the main reason I picked it up is because of Raiden's appearance in PlayStation All Stars. I mean, yeah, that still works pretty good. Number 8 is Sly Cooper Thieves in Time. I wish I could have put this one higher on the list, really I do. But I'd be ignoring a lot of its downfalls. Now, Sly Cooper fans have looked forward to this game for years. I mean, even before it was announced, we were anticipating like what the new Sly game was going to be about. I mean, I was one of the players that was not satisfied with the ending to Sly 3, but I mean, I've talked a lot about this before in my earlier videos, but I'll try to keep it limited. The five levels, while they are large and very fun to explore, it was still a little disappointing to only get just a few of the ancestors. I know they said they wanted to put Sly Tenkamen, the Egyptian ancestor, into the mix, but they just didn't really get the time for it. When a 5th game comes out, that will definitely be like the first, as I said before, like since he's in Egypt now. The gameplay definitely does feel like Sly Cooper. It does have, it has evolved to fit the PlayStation 3 expectations, and I'm really happy about that. There's now like a bunch of mini games now. Like there's one where you like tilt the controller around to get this little ball into at the end of the maze as one of the hacking mini games, and a lot of players have gotten really frustrated over that. But I've done a lot of stuff like that, so it didn't really faze me that much. I mean, it's similar to that mini game in Ratchet and Clank Tools of Destruction where you're opening the doors with that decryptor, I think it's called. But only this time it's non-optional in Sly Cooper. But I mean, if you don't like that sort of thing, then I wouldn't recommend doing that sort of thing. But just looking past that, I mean, the story, while some say it's not very compelling, I definitely did think it was okay. Not too bad, but was still enjoyable enough for me to keep going. The jokes, while cheesy, I still found myself smiling at how fun it just was to listen along. What else? The new characters definitely do have a lot of fun personality, as I've said before. I still love Sheriff Toothpick. I love the ancestors. I love how it's definitely like it definitely has more personality than I've seen in a very long time, and it's very refreshing to actually see something so energized and just so animated. It's a lot of fun. So if you love Sly Cooper, pick this up. I promise you, unless your name is Kevin Sabo or one of the other commenters I've come across. And number 7 is DMC Devil May Cry. Not sure what was up the title. It's DMC and that Devil May Cry again, but I will. I haven't really played that much of the other Devil May Cry games. What am I doing? If I'm gonna do this, I'm gonna do it right. That's better. Yeah. You can tell I'm quite a collector, eh? So, regardless, as far as as how I think about Devil May Cry, I definitely do love the hack and slash mechanics. It definitely works really well when you're ranking up the special combos, and only this time in DMC, it definitely ranks you on your creativity or variation is what I should have said. Is not just like doing the same moves, but like mixing it up a lot, and that's what really gets you higher rankings. And I really do think that's pretty cool how they fixated that. The gameplay is definitely it definitely fits. The environments are very beautiful and colorful, and I was really impressed at how everything distorts when it goes into limbo. I mean, people say flashy graphics don't make a good game. That's true, but people complain about the Dante character. I mean, this new Dante, I mean, he's okay. I mean, the dialogue in the game, well, not just him, but the game throughout was okay to cheesy to poor, like Succubus. I mean, but when it gets down to it, I mean, I just think that the dialogue really should have been improved at some points, because I just really found myself laughing at parts where I just shouldn't be laughing. But regardless, I mean, the swords and all the other weapons that you get as you improve, I mean, you definitely find yourself using them in different ways. I mean, there's the demonic ones, the angelic weapons. I mean, they're definitely varieties that can cause minimal to maximum damage, and certain enemies can only be defeated by either or. But I mean, I still haven't yet to play the Virgil story, but it still looks pretty fun. I mean, I would definitely want to go back and buy that story just to see how it all goes out. But I just think it's a really fun game. I mean, I'll have to go back and play the other Devil May Cry games to see how this one goes up. But like like I said, I mean, it's like, if this was set such an expectation with its graphic designs, would I be disappointed by the earlier games? I don't know. I'll have to check that out for myself. Number 6. I know I'm gonna get a lot of flack for this, and I'm sorry, but The Last of Us. Now, don't get me wrong. I mean, I love the game, as I said before in my earlier videos. I mean, it's fun. You definitely do feel the misery of what's going on. Like, your typical, like, zombie apocalypse stories, like you got The Walking Dead and stuff like that. I mean, here in the game, it definitely does not fail to please and live up to those expectations. I was like, I'm trying not to repeat myself as little as possible, but you do get, like, all the crafting systems to create, like, some weapons. Like, you tie, like, scissors onto, like a pole or something to use that as a different weapon. And I do think that's pretty cool, and I'm really glad they definitely put a new spin on the tired cliche I was starting to see, like with one character who's immune to this disease and could be used to cure the whole infected race. I mean, they definitely did put a new spin on that, and I'm really happy that it's different now. You're probably wondering what tired old cliche. I mean, like, if you played Fallout 3, the DLC The Pit, that follows the same storyline. It's a lot more generic, but yeah, I was starting to see a pattern, like, not just that, but, like, a couple other games and shows as well, just starting to get old that way, but this one kept it fresh, and I'm happy about that. And while I do love the character Joel, I'm sorry, I was not a big fan of Ellie. I think she's very overrated. I mean, I definitely do like her, the father-daughter relationship she builds with Joel. I mean, that's really, really well done, but I just think the character, I have trouble, like, not following, but just, like, enjoying the character. I mean, like, seeing her act out and just the way she is, I mean, is this supposed to be, like, the impulsive, like, teenager kind of thing? I mean, I just never really got it. I mean, I could see a slightly older character behaving in this sort of mannerism, but for a 14-year-old girl, I mean, I just never really, like, really understood, like, the character. I don't know what else to say. I just never really found it, like, easy to follow along with. I just thought it was just kind of silly. I mean, there's a point in the game where, I know you've probably heard before, probably played the game, where she breaks some guy's finger, but I mean, that's the kind of thing that should be really awesome and just be like, oh man, that is awesome, but I never felt it. I didn't feel a darn thing. I'm sorry, but it just never gave anything to me. I know there's a DLC coming out where you play as her, and she meets her friend Riley. I mean, I read the comics, and I was concerned at first that it was going to be the comic story as a DLC, but it's actually going to be different, and I'm happy to know that. But so overall, I mean, it's made by Naughty Dog, so you can't go wrong with Naughty Dog. I mean, yeah, I mean, if you don't have to take my word for it, then take everyone else's word for it. I don't really care whose side you pick, but just go along with what you like. I mean, if you haven't played already, give it a shot. Number 5 is Tearaway. A PS Vita game made by MM. I'm probably saying that wrong, but by the same people who made Little Big Planet, and I love how Little Big Planet, like, really encourages the elements of creativity and to just be creative, and that's definitely what Tearaway accomplishes really, really well. I mean, you know how when you're a little kid and you like to build stuff out of construction paper, because that's what I would always do, like, especially in, like, elementary school. Yeah, imagine an entire world built out of construction paper, because that's what this game is. It's like everything's made out of paper, and that's really, really clever. And so you play as a small envelope-headed character. You can be male or female depending on your way, and there's a couple narrators that go along with it, and you take a picture of yourself using the camera, and your face will actually be the sun. I thought that was kind of funny. I always thought of Teletubbies, but only more or less creepy depending on what your face is. I would make creepy faces on purpose just to be funny, but the game makes it take like 10 selfies at a time. I don't know why it does that, but it's weird. But regardless, I mean, what you can do is that, like, getting to the creativity, I really think that it's not the kind of thing you just rush through. I mean, it's something really that you can just sit down and enjoy, because, like, I think my favorite part was that uh, early on in the game, there's this one guy who loses his mustache, and then you have to like build another one for him. And so what you do is like whenever you go to like create something, it brings you like a little screen that's like a template, and you have like construction paper to like bring down. You like cut stuff out of like the different construction paper colors. Unfortunately, it's not very precise because of like the finger. Like you have to use your finger to like trace along, and sometimes it gets a little bulky or just like not really what you expect. If only they could make like a stylus for the Vita. I'm sure there's something you can use, but I just haven't figured it out. But it's a lot of fun. You can just like create like different stuff. There's another part of the game where there's a pumpkin that you have to use as a scarecrow's head, and it gives you the option to like decorate it the pumpkin, and then you can use like eyes and the select eyes and the mouths to like put on it to make it like a kind of scary or funny, just whatever you want to do. Something I would always do is I would cut the M Crew Dude logo out. I'd just stick that on everything just to be kind of funny. I even stick that on the character, but overall, I mean, but yeah, I mean, if you have a Vita, this is definitely one you should own. It's amazing, and something else a lot of people forget to mention is that there's an in-game camera. Again, when you take selfies of yourself, but you like take pictures of like things within the game of your designs and stuff, but you can also take pictures of objects that are blank white, and that gives them color. And it also unlocks a feature we can go to online to print out papercraft plans, so you can actually print that stuff out and then create like whatever it is you took a picture of in the game. Like there's a large carousel of, I thought that was pretty cool. You can like print out the papercraft for that and just build like a actual carousel out of paper. I haven't figured out how it works yet, so I'm not really sure what it is, but it looks pretty cool. I'll have to check that out sometime. But yeah, I mean, great game. Number 4? Yeah, Beyond Two Souls. This game got a lot of mixed opinions, but I definitely think it's really good. It's made by Quantic Dream, the same creators of Heavy Rain for the PS3, but I mean, it definitely isn't as strong as Heavy Rain, but it definitely does tell a very compelling and great story. It stars Ellen Page and Willem Dafoe. Now, the main story is about Ellen Page's character. Her name is Jodie, and all her life she's been like attached to like this spiritual entity called Aiden, and basically Aiden's like some kind of ghost that's like, he's like a ghostly figure, and he can interact with like world objects. He can take control over people and choke like them as well. He can also like pick stuff up and just like throw them around. And now for Jodie's safety, she's put into like the care of like 2 scientists. One of them is Willem Dafoe, and all sorts of crazy stuff happens from her relationship with Aiden. And then it goes from like different types where it's like she's with the CIA, and then she ends up on the streets, and then visits a Navajo family. I mean, I'm not giving too much away because this was released before the game. In the homeless chapter, Jodie ends up homeless for a moment, and she comes across a homeless group of a bunch of people who decide to help her out. Well, and she helps them alongside, and seeing that just in like just how it gives you a real sense of desperation there, and it was definitely the strongest part of the whole game, I believe. And after seeing that, I was really sold on this game. I was like, I really want this now. This is really incredible. It just how it demonstrated just like all the story potential. But unfortunately, I wish the rest of the story was just as dedicated as the homeless chapter. Unfortunately, there are a couple downfalls. Like there's a lot of plot questions. Like I know it explains how Aiden is connected to Jodie, but it just seems like, are other people connected this way? Were her parents connected this way? It just doesn't add up. And then there's a total tease at the ending where you think there might be a sequel to it, but I don't think that's gonna happen. Unfortunately, but still, I mean, the reason why I put this higher on the list is because of it's definitely good at storytelling. It's really good at keeping the audience engaged. My only other problem is that it bounces all around in Jodie's timeline. I mean, it doesn't just like go like linear. It just like goes in and out all over the place, giving a very schizophrenic feel. I mean, if it was just Jodie's adulthood, well, occasionally flashing back to her childhood, I'd accept that, but no, it just like goes from just all over the place and then just fills the spaces in between, and I just kind of felt that taking me out of the story and just kind of figuring out what happened or how it led up to this, but it definitely did leave a really positive impact on me. While Heavy Rain dealt with the themes of love and ultimate sacrifice, Beyond definitely deals with the themes of death and life after death, and I'm sure a lot of us have understood that. I mean, unfortunately, I've lost a lot of loved ones over the year, but definitely, it definitely does present that in a new and very never before seen way, and I'm actually really impressed by that. I actually kind of want to travel cross country because of this game, because of just how much it inspires like lifestyle. It definitely shows like how people live different lifestyle, and it shows like the good people, the bad people, and just like those who are accepting of Jodie and those who are like against her. I mean, I'm not going to give away too much other than that, but I would definitely at least recommend checking it out. I mean, I'm sure you, fans of Quantic Dream or just Ellen Page would really love this game. Number three is BioShock Infinite. I'll be honest, I did not play the other BioShock games, but after hearing like how critically acclaimed this game is, I went to check it out for myself, and it really exceeded my expectations. I mean, I have to say, I mean, it is just impressive. Let me explain. The story centers around main character Booker DeWitt, and what he has to do is he's on like a mission to rescue some girl from a city in the sky called Columbia, and that's definitely one of the strong points of the game. It's definitely as Doug Walker put it, a visual marvel. I mean, just walking into the city for the first time is just a jaw-dropping experience. I mean, it is just so graphically beautiful. I mean, you can't help but to just fall in love with this world. I mean, it definitely has like a sense of nostalgia, a sense of like a strong American spirit, it seems, but the downfall comes with its sense of racism. Yeah, it definitely does exhibit like racism at some points, and there is some sort of idolization of Confederates and John Wilkes Booth, but besides that, I mean, the story itself is definitely really impressive. I mean, the development of character is awesome. I love the character Elizabeth. She's like I can't really call her a sorceress, but she has like magic abilities to like open tears in the world to like create world objects appear. Like in some points later in the game, she can make like objects appear to help Booker in his way. Just like make like either cover or just crates of ammo, and she's definitely not useless. Like several parts during the game, she'll give you stuff you need. Like if you're running low on health, she'll give you like medicines. If you're running low on ammo, she'll appear from behind you and just give you ammunition, and that's really useful. And I'm really glad that that she's like that. I mean, why can't more companions in video games be like that? In most cases, you just find them like just standing and getting in the way of every shot you make. But Elizabeth is actually, she pulls her own weight, and I really like that. I mean, the story is. I'm sorry. I know I keep repeating myself, but it's definitely really well done. And I'm really excited about it. I don't want to spoil anything if you haven't played it. I'm just really getting wrapped up in this. But overall, I mean, I just think it's definitely a worthwhile experience. Before I go, there are also the Vigors, which replace plasmids from the previous BioShock games. You get some new ones. Like I think one of my favorites is the Murder of Crows, where you take the Vigor and you can like shoot like crows that like attack and like peck your enemies to death. And I really think that's kind of funny. I mean, that was also in PlayStation All Stars. I mean, I think that's really cool too. So other than that, I mean, I would definitely recommend picking up the game. I mean, whether or not you're a fan of BioShock, I mean, I still think you would like this one. It's definitely not like the others. It definitely has a more colorful atmosphere than the earlier ones did. How it's just all dark and creepy. But I definitely think this one's a keeper. Number 2 is Assassin's Creed 4 Black Flag. First of all, I did get the collector's edition, but what possessed me not to show you what it was all about? I mean, first of all, in the collector's edition, you get this I want to say it's like over a foot tall. This statue of Edward Kenway. It's really, really detailed and very impressive. Definitely make a good standout piece for your collection. There is some assembly required, like this rope here, the sword, and he goes into the stand. I'm trying to position him properly, but he is a little side heavy, so he kind of tips over. But I'm sure that's an easy fix. I just gotta either put something on the end or just turn him around. But just as long as the position is better. But some of the other things here is that I got this separate. It's like, well, this is a little pin representing the one that Edward wears in the game. Then there's the hidden wrist blade, awesome, and yes, the blade does eject. Yeah. Some of the other stuff you get along with that, you get the black flag, of course. Yeah. It's kind of like the one that you got in the Assassin's Creed 3 one. It's really cool. I mean, I just gotta like see if it hangs somewhere. Finally, there's a cool little art book you get. Oh, I'm forgetting. Within the game, there's also a soundtrack too that you get to listen to the soundtrack of the game. Yeah, it's really cool. So, anyways, about the game. At first, I was a little concerned that too much of the focus was devoted to its pirate sailing mechanics. Huh? And to an extent, it kind of is, but I never really found it that distracting. I mean, it definitely fits well with the game, and it definitely does feel like an Assassin's Creed game, especially when you're like fighting pirates on other ships. I mean, you can definitely climb on things and just leap onto them and just finish them off, just as previous Assassin's games have been. But besides that, I mean, I definitely really enjoyed this one more than I expected. So, I mean, the stories in Assassin's Creed have always been a little hard to follow, but I really think this one definitely was pretty good. Edward is definitely a really fun character. You get to like see his stories of how he came into the Assassin's Order. It's a lot different. It's like he wasn't born into it. He was just kind of like following along. He just kind of like found some guy's uniform, put it on, and just like called himself an assassin until like he learned the true ways of how to like follow the creed. But in addition to that, I mean, some characters are pretty forgettable, but you definitely do get to see iconic figures like Blackbeard and Bartholomew Roberts, just famous pirates like that, and oh yeah. Of course, like in Assassin's Creed games, you can like customize things. You can customize the ship. You can upgrade it and do all kinds of like cool things with it. I really am I really do think this was a really good game. Something else that I thought was pretty awesome is that instead of like Desmond segments, is that it's kind of like a first-person segment that where you're following along is kind of like a double agent for Abstergo, trying to like find data for the assassins. But I thought that was kind of an interesting story. It could have been a little more detailed, but I thought it was alright for what it was. Oh yeah, and there was also a DLC that came with the game for PS3 owners called Avalon. I was really let down by that. I mean, you play as Avalon from Liberation for like 3 missions. Yeah, just 3 missions, but I mean, it was okay, but it could have been more for what it was. But what the real money is at is Freedom Cry, where you get to play as Adewale, who is Edward's first mate. I really did like that. I did like that. Is what I had said. That one always focuses on like liberation of slaves, and that definitely does bring out a very strong story element. And I really thought that was a very creative and well done addition to the game. I mean, yeah. What else can I say? I mean, without stuttering or repeating myself, go out and get it. And the #1 game of this year is Ride to Hell Retribution. I mean, yeah, this game is it takes place like around the '60s, where it basically is basically a theme around bikers around that time. You play as a guy named Jake Conway who just got out of the Vietnam War, going home to his family when finds that his brother was killed by bikers just like shortly after they talk and just go out to have some fun. So Jake puts on his old jacket and just seeks retribution. Isn't that a great story? It's the most generic story I've ever heard of. I'm just kidding, folks. I mean, this is the most broken game I've ever played. I mean, you just find like everything is flawed. I heard it came out originally was announced in 2008 to be like open world kind of a style game, but it just kept getting revived, put back, and then revived again. I mean, the driving sequences are horrendous, and you think that would be the best part of a biker game, but no. I mean, what happens here is that like, you just drive down, you feel like you're on a sheet of ice, and then enemies just come out, you get locked into like this combat thing where you mash buttons to hit them. I mean, it's just not fun. And what's worst of all is if you hit something, excuse me, if you hit something and get forced back a little bit, the screen goes black and resets you a short ways away. But if that's not bad enough, if that happens too many times, the bike flies off and explodes for no reason. I mean, the fighting sequences aren't much better. I mean, you just like tap buttons like for few combos, and the shooting mechanics are horrible. I mean, anything other than a headshot is pathetic and ineffective. I mean, and to make matters worse, I mean, you think headshots are the best way to go with everybody, but then there come these guys that look like Jason Voorhees with the hockey masks. Yeah, they're somehow invincible to headshots because of that, so your best bet is to fight them out in the open or just avoid them altogether. And I seriously don't know how this game got made, but it's one of those things where it's like, it's so bad where I can't really say it's good because it gets frustrating because it throws crap out there that thinks is going to work but really frustrates you even more. But I would still recommend, hey, pick this game up. This is so bad it has to be seen to believe. No, the real game of the year is, yeah, Grand Theft Auto 5. I bet you all knew that was coming. I couldn't afford the big special edition this year, unfortunately, but I'm definitely satisfied with what I got. Because previously in Grand Theft Auto games, you're stuck as one character, but here you have 3 different characters to explore the story with. You have Franklin, who's kind of like a street gangster trying to make a better life for himself. Michael, who is an ex-bank robber, but now a less successful family man, who eventually has to fall back into his criminal roots to make ends meet. And then there's Trevor, who is just an all-around psychopath. I have to say my favorite character of the 3 is Michael. Not because of the namesake, but because I just found him like the easiest to connect with. A guy who has like trouble and just like falls back into like extremes to just put pieces of his life together and just figure out like what he really wants and just how to go. He goes to therapy and stuff like that, so maybe all's not lost for him as long as he's not busy stealing cars and killing people. I found that like there's definitely like a lot of activity you can do. Like there's still friend activity. Unfortunately, there's no bowling. You think that'd be iconic by now, but there's no bowling anymore in the game. However, some new activities, you can golf, and you can also partake in like different events. There's racing and stuff like that in the game. I think that's really cool. There's only one strip club, but it's a lot better than the ones in the previous games. You can play darts too. You can do like special little side missions like where you're like driving around and transporting like weapons and drugs and stuff. Sorry, my nose is a little stuffed. The thing is like the only thing I was kind of disappointed with is the friend activities are kind of limited. It's not as good as it was in GTA 4, but it's still okay. I mean, not too bad, but it could have been a little improved. But again, so with the you meet a lot of different side characters as you did before. You have to go through. So there's a bunch of different quests that you partake on, just either it's main story or side missions that you can just go on, just different things that you can just sidetrack yourself from the main story. But the main story still isn't good, so I recommend doing that too. But what I really thought was an improvement over GTA 4 is that in that game, once you get enough money, there's not really much to buy. But here you can in GTA 5 you can buy like stocks, you can buy property, and you get like an easy income through that, and then sometimes you'll get like little jobs by the company managers, and that's always fun just to like make extra cash to buy more stuff. You can buy weapons, and it's a big improvement, the weapons now, because like in Red Dead Redemption, you get like a weapon wheel, but unfortunately it's a weapon wheel per each character, so you have to buy like the same weapon like 3 times for each character, but still, I mean, it's definitely an easy way to like to keep a easy setup on how the characters like keep all their weapons. If you get busted by the cops, they just take your ammunition, they don't take your guns from you, so I think that's really useful. But there's just so much activity, I don't have enough time to like explain all of it. There is multiplayer. You can like plan heists with your friends online, just like rob in-game banks and stuff like that. I mean, I don't condone any real-life violence or anything. It's just a lot of fun to just go ahead and do that sort of thing in the game. And as a part of the main campaign, there are also like different heists that you have to go on. And what's really cool is that you can either plan like how to go about different ways. There are 2 different ways you can go about planning a heist: either the stealthy way or just the full frontal assault. And yeah, it does offer replayability. So whoever thinks that there's no replayability, then please look again. You'll definitely want to go back and see what you missed, because let's face it. I mean, there's still so much in the game I haven't seen yet, but who knows? You might actually enjoy it. I'm sure most of you already played it, so I'm not gonna say anything else. It's definitely one great ride, and play it if you have not already. And this is the M Crew Dude signing off, wishing you all a very pleasant day.